Stampede alumni report. Aaron, the Orthopedic Institute, the official training, rehab, and sports medicine team of the Sioux Falls Stampede. And we've got a special guest with us here tonight, John Rosso, former assistant coach with the Stampede and now a scout with the Tampa Bay Lightning of the National Hockey League. John, welcome back to Sioux Falls.
Thanks for having me. It's great being back. I love being back in Sioux Falls and watching the Stampede play.
First of all, kind of a whirlwind summer for you. This opportunity came about. Just talk a little bit about the process of getting a job in the National Hockey League and where it's taken you so far here, because I know you've been a busy guy.
Yeah, it's been real busy. It happened real late in the summer, and it was just one of those things: right place, right time. You get someone throws your name out there, and phone call, and one thing leads to another, and all of a sudden you're in an interview with Tampa Bay, and you're sitting down with management and everything else, and fooled them for a couple hours in an interview and got a job. So since then, it's been a whirlwind from the draft in Minneapolis till all the way until now. You're just on the road and trying to find the best players.
I often will ask players that have moved on to the National Hockey League if they could imagine themselves when they're in Sioux Falls going to the NHL. How about you as a coach? It's only been a few years since you've been here, but when you started in Sioux Falls, did you ever imagine yourself, just a few years later working for an NHL team?
No, I up until I got the phone call, I never even had crossed my mind. I'd always figured I'd be in college and be in coaching, and it was one of those things where you get the phone call and it starts to make you think, and all of a sudden you just, this is a whole other world that I never even anticipated being available to me, and a lot of opportunities. So I figured, it can't hurt, and a great organization. Everyone's been really nice, and so far it's been a really good fit.
Talk about some of the things, your duties here with the Tampa Bay Lightning, and what you do as a scout. I know everybody kind of has a territory, so what is kind of your primary focus, and what are you doing on a typical weekend?
Yeah, it really worked out well for me with Tampa Bay because they were looking for someone who knew USHL, and since I coach obviously here in Sioux Falls, I was familiar with the league. I'm from Minneapolis, so I cover Minnesota high school hockey, so that was also an advantage in my corner. And I also cover WCHA for free agents, so I try to cover everything I can. A lot of travel, a lot of time in the car, a few flights here and there, but it's been good. It's been really good.
As you come to these games, let's look at the USHL in specific. I mean, how much does it change in how you look at the players, as opposed to when you were working for the Stampede and even working, for in college to now looking at these guys a little bit differently, I would imagine, as an NHL prospect?
Yeah, it's really different. I had to catch myself, and I still do catch myself. You look at a player and you say, "Whoa, he's a nice kid. He can play. He's a good player." And then all of a sudden, you got to go, "Well, I'm not worried what he's going to be in 6 months. I'm worried what he's going to be in 6 years, and how is he going to transfer to the NHL level and not just the college level." So it's something that I still don't have a handle on, and trying to figure out and trying to learn from guys in the organization. But it's not an exact science, that's for sure.
What are some things you do when you talk to these players at the USHL or even college? What are you allowed to maybe talk to them about? And I mean, do you get a chance to kind of get a feel for them one-on-one as maybe what kind of people they are off the ice as opposed to even on the ice, which you can obviously see by watching?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is you're looking for character, and that you go through coaches, you go through former coaches, and try to get as much feedback as you can on the kid as an individual, because that's going to dictate. You can see the ice what the player does on the ice can tell you a lot, and tell you if he has the skills and the tools to potentially be a professional hockey player someday. But it's all between the ears, and what type of kid he is, and how he is in school, and how he treats his teammates, and things like that, and his work ethic are going to be a determining factor, a huge factor, in whether he makes those jumps to the higher level.
At this level, we talk a lot about, those NHL Central scouting rankings, and a lot of people kind of wonder what they are, how they're used a little bit. I know you just started, so you haven't exactly used maybe that service, but how much of an influence is that for you when you go to these games and take a look at these players?
I think it's a great tool. It helps you identify guys, and when you're walking in the door, walking in a rink, and if you're not familiar with the two teams or the coach's staff or anything like that, at least you have a blueprint in front of you where you can go off of, okay, I know that this guy's been earmarked, this guy's showing some tools and showing some signs to maybe be a pro someday. So at least you can put those guys right on your radar as soon as you walk in, and then just kind of figure it out from there. So I think it's Jack does a great job, Barzy does a great job, and I just think those guys just work so hard, and it's an invaluable tool.
When you're scouting these guys and taking notes, how often are you talking to the big guys, Steve Yzerman, people like that back in Tampa Bay, and kind of giving them your thoughts? Is it a monthly thing? Is it just kind of a weekly thing, or does it just happen from time to time when maybe you pick up the phone and say, hey, this is a guy we really need to keep an eye on?
I think it happens both ways. I think you get phone calls coming from my end and from their end. I think you work as a team. That's one thing that I didn't know coming into the whole deal is how much the scouting staff it just works like the Sioux Falls Stampede, the players and the coaching staff. Everyone works together in the scouting department and the management department. It's really, you get feedback and you get direction and you get comments and you get everything. It's a lot of communication going back and forth, which makes it a whole lot easier to know exactly what you're looking at.
The USHL has grown just over these last 10 years, and we're starting to see more NHL draft picks. The National Hockey League is, paying a little bit more attention to the USHL than it has in the past. How important do you think is it for a player to play in the United States Hockey League? Not only just to go to college, but to have a chance at the professional level.
Oh, I think it's a great league. I think it's been an undervalued league in my opinion. Maybe a little biased since I coached in the league, but I think everyone's coming around and seeing that there's a lot of high-end players. See first-round draft picks, second-round draft picks, all the way through the draft, and then you see college kids who played in the USHL. Maybe they are late bloomers and they get picked up as free agents later on and end up making great money, whether it's Europe or the American League or the NHL. They can make great careers out of it. So I think the USHL has done a great job in developing players in over the last couple of years, and really everyone's starting to open their eyes and see it.
Now that you've had a chance to work with the Lightning a little bit, and obviously I'm sure you can shed a little more light for them on the USHL, and I'm sure that's something that attracted them to you. And but what have you heard from them? Do you think that the USHL has really kind of turned the corner and is getting noticed maybe at a more national level than it has in the past?
Oh, I think it has for sure. I think you look at all the kids over the last, even kids coming through Sioux Falls here from Vanek and all the way on up to someone like Danny Sexton, who wasn't a draft, he was a late bloomer and ends up getting signed as a free agent. So I think the whole scouting world and the NHL scouts are taking notice, and you'll see it in the previous draft, then in June in Minneapolis, and you'll see it going forward here, and you'll see first, second round guys. You'll see a lot of high end guys. It's a league where and we've spread across. The USHL is spread across from California to Texas. It's across the United States now, and these kids just want to play in it. So you're getting the best of the best.
You've obviously spent some time here in Sioux Falls. Now, time to maybe reflect a little bit. What can you take, or what has helped you get you where you are today from your time in Sioux Falls and working with Coach Hartzell?
My time in Sioux Falls was great, and then maybe you don't realize it at the time, and you take it kind of for granted, and it's unbelievable. I mean, Coach Hartzell's a great coach. He's a great man. He's really looking out for these kids and developing them as not only hockey players, but as young adults too. So I mean, sending your kids to Sioux Falls and sending them to USHL, it's a great development on and off the ice, and it makes them ready for college and ready to handle the world. And I just think that from ownership and WEC and everyone that's surrounded with the team, including yourself, it's just a great environment. Sioux Falls just couldn't beat it for junior hockey atmosphere.
Well, John Rosso joining us here. John, we appreciate your time. I know everybody in Sioux Falls is proud of what you've accomplished and moved on, and we appreciate the time, and best of luck, and we hope to see you again here later on in the season.
Thank you.